the game, because this is a combo-based deck. We're oftentimes trying to pinpoint crucial supporter cards, pinpoint item cards, and we play a low count of energy, and we need to make sure we keep on top of those throughout the game to maintain our Phantom Dive attacks.
Both are finalists playing a Dragapult EX build that is very similar, often coined straight Dragapult.
Yep.
The idea being that there's not many main partners outside of a few individuals like Monkey Dory, Genesect, and the usual Budu candidates, but it does have a few differences when we look at these two lists. We mentioned the Maractus before,
yep.
With the corner attack to stop your opponent from retreating, which is on Yoa's side, but what does Alberto have in his deck that's different?
Well, Alberto doesn't have too much else, so just a handful of tool cards that I think stand out, most notably that Luxurious Cape. Alberto used it just in the previous matchup against an opposing Dragapult EX player, and it allowed him to maintain a recon directive on his bench because it wasn't in danger of being KO'd by Phantom Dive sprinkle damage counters. So it allows you to maintain some of these Pokemon on the board a little bit safer, and when it comes to those later stages, both players Ionoing them down to low hand sizes, where you still need to find those final pieces to close the game. Those extra recon directives are massive.
And when we see these mirror matches, it can often be quite easy to see it as a bit of a lucky matchup if you win either way, but as the complexity of both of these archetypes, strategies is so mathematical, you have to work out where the numbers go, there's a lot of room for error. So we will see the skill level of both these players shown fully in this matchup, and the better player should come out on top.
Every recon directive decision matters. Yes, these opening hands matter, but oftentimes you're looking at multiple supporter card options, and how you utilize those to the best of your ability will be the difference maker here, as we see Alberto on his first turn, Yoa passing things over with a pretty strong start. A turn attachment on his active Dreepy, already has the Budu prepped, expecting Itchy Pollen from Alberto because he's already led his own Budu, and it looks like he can bounce back with a Buddy Buddy Poffin from Alberto as well.
And the two buds you want to be seeing, that Budu in the active and the Buddy Buddy Poffin, to search your deck for those basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less will go straight down onto that bench, typically Dreepies or the Budu you see already on the board. And now just a little prize check for Alberto. Don't want to be making any mistakes based off of a lack of information. They want to be solving all 6 of those cards that are prized. The most notable here for Alberto is that Genesect can't shut down the unfair stamp of Yoa, so Disruption is a viable way to get him here. And then you've got those 2 Psychic Energy, the only 2 copies in the deck.
Doesn't help things out when you just play those 2 Fire Energies now in addition to your Luminous Energy, so that can make things a little bit more awkward for Alberto, how he navigates those opening hands. And as you said, Mike, with Ace Nullifier not possible for Alberto, at some point he has to release a Budu lock and fall possible prey to an unfair stamp, so he will have to set up his bench very diligently if he ever wants to launch any pressure attacks.
And we mentioned about the maths of this matchup being so important. That Monkey Dory for both players being prized will be a factor, as if you can establish a Monkey Dory, you can really change up how those sprinkles of damage can go down. But as both of them don't have access to it right now, we'll be likely seeing the Dragapult be the main target for those energy attachments.
It's a strange cat and mouse, especially in this mirror, where sometimes you will over-commit to certain Pokemon to play around Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain coming back in your direction. And there may also be attacks launched in specific ways where you can scatter those counters so that an Adrenabrain isn't going to completely punish you. Very often that critical 90 hit points of Dragloak can be pressurized by the Adrenabrain plus Phantom Dive 6 counter placement. So that's something both our players will be trying to navigate, despite no actual Monkey Dory being possible just yet in the game.
And Alberto just using that Ultra Ball preemptively for next turn, can't evolve a Dreepy right now as it's the first turn of play, but because there's a likelihood that Budu will be item locking him next turn, wants to make sure he gets the Dragloak available as soon as possible. And we just see on the other side, we mentioned about that Ace Nullifier with the Genesect, a key part to protect yourself from early disruption. So the two Dragloaks can be retrieved by Jacques here, or just the one required as there's one in hand already.
We'll start things off with a Recon Directive. I believe that found another Dragloak. Now potentially you could use Brock Scouting this turn, get some basics instead into the hand.
Or even the Iono. You know there's a Dragloak in Alberto's hand, so if you Iono, you'll force him to have to find another one, which is always possible, but at least you're working with the information you know for sure.
Will be the Brock Scouting in the end, grabbing the Holucha that you've just put to the bottom with a Recon Directive, as well as a Dreepy in the hand. Oftentimes a sign of when this deck is flowing well is based on how many Draglooks are in play, to be honest with you, Mike, so finding a couple on turn 2 already is amazing. You've stashed one into the hand in addition to benching a Dreepy this turn, you would imagine, so Joe has to be very happy with this opening.
Going first or second can be a big indicator of success in a mirror match, but going second is sometimes the favoured choice in this matchup. But the way Yoa's gone here, it's almost been better going first. He's been able to evolve sooner.
You typically choose to go second just because you have so many more outs to Buddy Buddy Poffin, but if you go first and just have Buddy Buddy Poffin in the hand, then you get evolving faster, you get more chances to attach energy. It's all around a good thing if you just happen to get lucky enough to find the Poffin.
Yeah, so second more optimal, but first can sometimes work out better if you're able to get that huge early Dreepy onto the bench that you can evolve during your second turn. As the Iono from Alberto will go down, 2 energies in play on the Dragloak, so this is where those advantages come in. You've got evolving is a big factor. The first one to get to the Dragapult can often be in a strong position, but it's also about those energies.
It really is, because you can target down multiple Pokemon in one go, so sometimes just making sure you can keep up on those attacks from your Dragapult EX are so vital. No more Dragloak coming out from the fresh 6 from Alberto, so he has to be content with just an Itchy Pollen. Yoa finds Jacques once again coming into the hand. That gives you access to Dragapult EX in addition to another Dragloak here, but we're still missing on energy, Mike. I'm not sure if there's even any in the hand here.
Yeah, so key here. You must get those energy in play, because you have to manually attach the 2 energy across 2 different turns. So the longer that first one takes to come down, there we go, there's an energy. The final Dragloak came through clutch, and that will be going straight onto a Dragloak. Actually going for the one with the damage counter on it. As with that one evolving up, it'll take itself out of range of some sprinkles.
And that's why we see the Brock Scouting. Actually, going to grab some basics here. Going for Holucha once again. So it's like Serendipity EX into the hand. The Brock Scouting, instead it's going to be the Budu. So versatile here. And again, this might be Joe recognizing that at any point your Budu could be Itchy Pollen back, and when there's potential Adrenabrain math in the mix, even though it currently has 20 hit points remaining, it could be KO'd this turn.
Brock Scouting a card out of Journey Together. I'm sure many people didn't see the potential of it as it has really shone in this Dragapult deck. Being able to find 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution, it's really that versatility that allows it to shine.
When I first looked at this card, I thought it was a maybe not quite possible one-off just to fill out your curve, but the more and more Itchy Pollen has become dominant in this metagame, the more vital it's become, and both players now playing high counts within their deck lists, alongside those Jacques, just to get yourself in the game and establish still under Itchy Pollen lock.
Yeah, we can see that Bravery Charm being the key target here with that Arven. Can't use the item that we've taken out the deck here, as the Itchy Pollen of Budu has denied both players so far being able to use items. And the Bravery Charm and the Luxurious Cape have been a key part of survivability in this format, not just for Dragapult, but across the board, as there's so many attacks that are targeting that bench.
And even this Budgie, sometimes you need more than just a couple turns to use Itchy Pollen. You need more. And in this case, Alberto doesn't really have enough setup in the hand to do anything but more Itchy Pollen. So let's make it brave. Let's push our hit points up that a little bit further. We're keeping up on those attachments, which is so vital. And we're once again going to tick one more damage onto this Budgie. We're back over to Joe now, who has 3 Recon Directive. Picks up a Psych Energy as well now.
This could be a dangerous turn here.
Boss is always in the hand as well.
Yeah, if we see the right few cards here for Yoa, there's a chance we'll be able to take out both that Dracloak and that Dreepy. We know the Horluxia is in hand, which would bring that Dreepy on the bench into range. This
Dragapult EX
has been so key to blocking off this opportunity, and the attachment there shows you that the combination wasn't available. So has to go for Jacques to find the Dragapult, which meant there was no way to get the boss's orders as well as the evolution this turn. But Yoa now is 1 turn away from taking out that Dracloak and Dreepy all in one foul swoop.
Has established a monster hand while doing so. Has to be happy with the way his board is looking in comparison to his opponent. Even if he's going to be going down the first prize card via an Itchy Pollen, you know that your hand is really established to do some dastardly work next turn. We need to see some Luxurious Cape or some more Recon Directive here.
Actually, there, the Luxurious Cape putting it to the bottom, but now has that Brock Scouting to go wider, focusing less on protection and more on depth. And so it's actually going to focus on just the Dracloak alone. That will increase the Dreepy's HP, so both of them can't be taken out. And it is still quite scary, though, for Alberto. A little bit behind when it comes to the development of the board, now that Yoa starts to get those energies in play.
Yeah, still protection, just in a different means, and this allows you to keep drawing cards, which is always helpful. See a couple more from this Recon Directive. Alberto has been on stream a few times already and has come back from awkward starts. I've never really seen him on all full cylinders, to be honest. It seems like he's always trying to do the best with what he's got. Partly, of course, because he is under Itchy Pollen lock right now. But even still, seems like he's having the worst of it. Both Recon Directives used. At least they're both powered up Dracloak now. You know that Itchy Pollen will take the prize. You can maintain your item lock. You take the first prize of game 1 here in our best of 3 in the finals. But this is where we're going to see some fireworks. Yeah, still working towards a big turn.
Still under item lock, but we'll be seeing so many cards. You've got 3 of those Dracloak to Recon Directive cards into your hand. You have that Pheasantipity now available. True. Might not even need to put it in play, as there's going to be all those options built up in the hand across all these turns. And now you're starting to wonder, what is the route Yoa's going to go here? The knockout of a Dracloak would be key to take away that draw engine, and one of the options for Alberto, force him to build up something else. But then once that happens, the items will be back online, and that's when the game really starts going full speed ahead.
I feel like you're always ignoring Budgie here. You're going to take out a Dracloak, certainly, with boss's orders, but also I'd love to see a tool card come down onto Genesect, so you're not facing down an unfair stamp straight away. You can feel quite secure when you already have a couple Recon Directive at your disposal. And there are a couple tools in this hand. It's going to be the EXP share coming onto Genesect right now. So Ace Nullify will be shutting down Alberto's option of unfair stamp on the following turn, and that's because the Itchy Pollen lock is gone. We're going full on with Dragapult from here on out.
A big knockout here. The first Dragapult developed is a massive milestone in the matchup, often dictating who takes the lead. And I think right here we've seen exactly that. The rest of the damage going to be put on that Sadu to be knocking it out, and that's 2 knockouts for Yoa with that Dragapult staring down a Dracloak that must be provided into the active spot. And now Alberto has to re-establish a strong board.
And all he has right now is Dracloak. The good news is he has a lot of cards, and he finally has items. So he can rebuild quite nicely here. And will likely try and fire back with an No, because Yoa's also built an insane hand size.
No access to unfair stamp if he finds it as the Ace Nullifier of Genesect in full action, and that's exactly why it's a massive part of this matchup, because disruption is the key in these kind of games. You want to try and steal a few turns back, and if you take away the ability to disrupt, then it's going to be really difficult for Alberto to come back here, as that Dragapult will not be knocked out next turn, so another attack will be announced by Yoa, allowing him to sprinkle even more damage into play.
Yoa actually chose to sort of waste the damage counter on the Budgie on the previous turn, so that Alberto didn't even have any Monkey Dory shenanigans, even in the distant future. So it shows how many turns ahead Yoa is already thinking with his prize map, and what's in Alberto's range over the next couple of turns. Alberto has no issue finding some Pokemon here with a couple Ultra Ball in hand. Pheasantipity EX is sometimes a nice fallback, but guaranteeing a Dragapult EX also vital this turn. That's a no-brainer. We'll start things off with the Flip the Script though.
And that Pheasantipity being put in play increases the likelihood of Yoa to take a win earlier, as 210 hit points on a 2-prize Pokemon is very much in range of a Dragapult or a future attacking Blood Moon Ursa Luna, and all sorts of different shenanigans that Dragapult is very good at doing. But unfortunately for Alberto, he needs to establish more here, and will be looking to use that Pheasantipity to do so.
It's one of those things, we're going to start with the Flip the Script. It's for now, but also just a Pokemon to have in play for later. If you want to start setting up damage counters with your own Phantom Dives these next couple of turns, you need to expect that Yoa's going to keep launching attacks and keep threatening your own Pokemon. In a way, make Yoa not take prize cards in favour of the Flip the Script.
And just looking at those 2 cards there, working out how to use this Ultra Ball to maximum efficiency, and it's often the most challenging part of the deck is what you discard with the Ultra Ball. It can sometimes come back to bite you towards the end of the game, and Alberto has got to this stage through recognising that Ultra Ball discarding useful resources is not good, so using the Dracloak to find something to discard rather than find something that he wanted.
It's so often that because your main draw power is that Recon Directive, that constantly your best cards are in your hand. As you see Alberto taking the opportunity to have a free fodder card, in this case it was a Budgie, so that we can have an easier discard choice. Finally grabbing our Dragapult EX, and I know he's got an Iono lined up this turn, another vital cog for him here to start mounting this comeback.
There's very few decks in Pokemon where it takes this many turns to start doing your main strategy, but both players went through 4 or 5 turns of setup to get to the stage where they have that Dragapult EX, but now it is time for both of them to start hitting that 200 damage into the active with Phantom Dive.
And then target the engine. We're going to try and take out one of the Dracloak with this counter capture. Combine it with the reduction of cards in the hand, the Ino. We're seeing a full shuffle from Yoa because he literally has like 15 or so cards in his hand.
That's what turns of Recon Directive does for you.
It does. And I imagine you have to keep pressuring the Dracloak as well. I imagine a full 6 counters will go on the bench Dracloak at the same time as this knockout. No, it's going to go 6 onto the Dragapult EX. Interesting. There's some times where you stay consistent with the strategy of just ensuring Dracloak is damaged, but now maybe you're looking to use counter capture again on the following turn. Put that Dragapult into range of a 200 damage counter placement later.
Yeah, there's that Pheasantipity we spoke about, and Now both sides have that two-prize liability, and that unfair stamp just being tried to attach to the Pheasant. He wasn't trying to do that every time. Actually, is going to just play the unfair stamp. As mentioned before, Alberto unable to develop that ace nullifying Genesect, so will be vulnerable to the ace spec here. Unfair stamp, the card that I think has really changed Dragapult's strategy, made it much slower, much more disruptive.
And even though Yoa's ahead, I'm feeling even more terrified for Alberto now. Has no recon directive on the board. Yoa won't have to activate the script with this attack. The Dragapult's not really under pressure. There's no guarantee that Alberto will be able to string anything together next turn. Well, Yoa has much more of an engine established. Can continue to dig deeper with the recon directive as well.
Well, at least he knows he's going to be able to announce an attack if he can get that Dragapult into the active. But as you mentioned, it's all about reducing the likelihood of Alberto setting up more and more. And this has been the story of this first game. A mirror match between Dragapult EX with no partners, just straight Dragapult here, looking to try and punish each other through those small little moments of inconsistency early on. And on this occasion, Yoa is trying to punish Alberto, who wasn't able to set up quickly at the beginning. And here it is.
Mike, Monkey Dory's coming out. I think we have Luminous in the hand. We took Monkey Dory from our prize cards. I think we're going to be able to take out the Dreepy on the bench if we wish, or at least start healing up this Dragapult EX. Alberto was trying to get creative with those counters, and Yoa answers back straight away with the Adrenabrain.
It doesn't even need to take a knockout. It's more about the healing at this point. And trying to move that damage off the active Dragapult. We'll see what strategy Yoa goes for. If he were to take a knockout here, then that Pheasant EX will be available, but capable of moving 3 damage across. It will
active, there you go.
Go to the active there, and now that active Dragapult EX for Yoa is much further away from being knocked out.
Whilst also playing more with those damage counters, playing around Pheasant EX as you'd expect. And now you have 230 on the active. That is 90 damage away, which means if you push this Dragapult EX out of the way, once again you can Adrenabrain plus the 6 damage counters from Phantom Dive. This is, I'm certain, something Yoa has done. It's within his script of how to play this matchup. That's why he's got this far in the event.
And that would be possible next turn to win the game. Yoa potentially 1 turn away from winning, where Alberto has to build here, has to find a solution. I think I saw a boss's orders in hand, so could potentially bring something up like that Pheasantipity and trying to really disrupt the board, but even then, there's a Dracloak on board for Yoa, so still being able to draw cards. And there we go, the Pheasantipity EX will come into the active spot with 210 hit points. A Phantom Dive won't knock it out. But it asks the other question, have you got a way to retreat? And I think there is one in hand at the moment.
To do what you can with what you got situation, this is why the unfair stamp is so brutal, such a powerful option within these decks. Alberto now has to decide where those 6 counters will be placed. It's going to go on to the Dracloak at this stage. All 6 perhaps? Yeah, now making that line of play possible.
Is there something in hand there for Yoa to be able to get that Pheasantipity out the active, a rescue board or a switch?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've spent the rescue board just yet. That's an Iona coming into the hand. Rock Scouting can grant us the Latiati X.
That's another out. Something that's unique about Yoa's deck. One of the main differences between the two decks. The Latias is there. And we'll be getting the Horlucha as well, which will allow for a potential bit of thinning to improve future draws. Yeah,
there's no space for it right now, but the main thing is you're getting a Phantom Dive. You're taking out the only Dragapult, possibly the only other energy in play as well if you would like. Your Dragapult EX is so healthy thanks to your Adrenabrain that you don't even fear a Blood Moon or Saluna coming back. Too much at the very least.
Well, could take out the active Dragapult, could move some damage across and actually take out both those Dreepies potentially, if moved in the correct way. So we might be seeing the attack for our game 1 here for Yoa, just doing the maths, moving that 30 damage off of the damaged Pheasantipity. Where's it going to go? It's going to go on to that Dreepy. There's only 10 HP remaining for that. And the 2 Dreepies will be knocked out. Phantom Dive for 4 prize cards. Yoa wins game 1 of the Utrecht final.
So well played there from Yoa, capitalising on his unfair stamp, whilst also, don't forget, he made sure he wasn't falling prey to it. Before he started to launch those knockouts, he established his own ace nullifier. So when he is taking those prizes, he has confidence that the very worst case scenario, it's just an Iono. And even then he has even more recon directive at his disposal. Yoa forced to go first in this game, had Buddy Poppin straight into some of these crucial supporter cards, the Brock Scoutings, the Jux. These are such vital pieces in the new age builds of Dragapult.
And this Dragapult has a variety of friends to help in the way. Genesect nullifying those ace specs, very much a factor here for Yoa, so that ace spec didn't come in and disrupt the unfair stamp, but also the Monkey Dory. We saw how powerful that was towards the end, accelerating the win condition by moving damage across, increasing the amount of damage moved about each turn to 90 rather than just the 60 from the Phantom Dive. And unfortunately for Alberto, both the Monkey Dory and Genesect remain prized that whole game, so it could completely change how this next game goes.
Players are opting to have 1 Monkey Dory in their deck list over a full Dusknoir line. That shows just how powerful the Adrenabrain truly is, and they're saying that just manipulating my opponent's damage is enough for me to really capitalise in this current format with so much intricate math, as you say, Mike. This matchup more so than any other, I would say. And having no access to it is painful. Alberto also struggled to find those Dreepy in the opening stages. Certainly was just sat there with 1 Dracloak for a while, so I feel like you have to write that one off. Brush it off. You know, he's a confident guy. He's tested enough. He's been in every situation. He's seen worse hands, and he's come back from worse situations before.
Pretty good hand there, I think.
Yeah, I saw Buddy Poppin, I think Brock Scouting as well. Has to be chuffed with that.
And we got to note that Yoa went first last time, which then meant he was in a top position, but 2 Dragapult prize there. This is the question, does he have the 2 copies or the 3 copies?
I start straight down to see the deck list. It's actually Alberto that plays the 2 copies. Yoa does play 3, so still has access to 1. It's just the attached pass from Yoa straight away. Alberto already has Budju in the active position once again. And this is when you start seeing Itchy Pollen become such a nuisance. If you have that slow 1 turn, Buddy's going to keep it slow for the rest of the game.
In a weird way, though, all you really need is a Dreepy in play and an energy attachment when you go first, but it's really then what else you're able to establish. Do you have that Brock Scouting or that Iono to see more cards next turn? That's the question now for Yoa. We'll find that out next time, but Alberto is currently looking to set up much stronger than last time. The prize cards are more favourable for him, and really trying to get ahead.
Establishing double Dreepy straight away is great. Even have, is that the Arvin hand? Oh, it's the Brock Scouting into a Jacques. You can really go wide on this bench if you would like to. Already a Psych Energy in this hand. Everything you want to see for Alberto. If you dream up an opening hand, it's this one.
And that Dreepy and Monkey Dory, we mentioned the 2 best pals to Dragapult at the moment, Monkey Dory and Genesect, opting to go for the Adrenabrain ability as it's so much more effective at moving damage across during those Budu Itchy Pollen battles, and especially when you get that early attachment, you have more time to be able to get an energy onto the Monkey Dory. So now we're going to look at Yoa. Do you have the way of setting up more? Another Dreepy comes down, you have the energy attachment. What do you prioritise here? Jacques is going to be going in for that Dracloak, but that might mean that Alberto has full access to items.
Could do. You can still see those couple cards and really hope for the best. But as you say, Mike, it feels like just evolving up is still the critical component. These item cards don't really slow the speed of a Dragapult down too much because it's all converted into supporter-based search. Sure, you give your opponent Ultra Balls for maybe some more Dracloak, but if you're still the first person initiating Phantom Dive, it's still a good place to be, I would argue. So just guaranteeing your Dracloaks before any other shenanigans are afoot, before you're threatened by any high damage outputs. Because these Dreepies are so easily targeted, I feel like this is still the best approach. You have a recon established this turn, you bank one for next turn as well.
I think that Dreepy on the bench was off the top deck, so maybe that completely changed the decision, because then you've got the Jacq to get your 2 Dracloaks, and otherwise you have to completely mix up how things are going here. Having an evolution line that you know your opponent can't skip past the middle stage, you do have a bit of time to work with, and just doing that prize checking now, as the prizes were so vital last game, we'll be finding those 2 Dragapult are missing, but there is still one available.
Yeah, cannot be happy with that. The good news is there are still a number of Night Stretcher available, so you can still find a way toward them later, as eventually the 2 Dracloak do come into the hand as expected, giving us one more recon directive to play with. A couple cards to see, one goes to the bottom, one goes directly into the hand. One of the key selling points of this archetype and why we're seeing 2 of them in our finals this weekend, and many more of them in our top cut. Not just the Phantom Dive attack from Dragapult that is so critical, also this single prize-based draw engine, as you work towards your key attacker, allows you so much access to your deck.
Yeah, since Journey Together came out, Dragapult has been the most popular deck and often the highest converting deck, but has struggled to get that title of a win, and this is going to be an opportunity to guarantee that. As we notice, the energy attachment is big there, so that's going to...
Headbutt, perhaps?
That's pretty risky to attack there.
That's why I said perhaps, Mike.
And you see the unfair stamp sitting in Alberto's hand, that would have been instantly slammed down to try and disrupt Yoa, so good recognition there, attaching the energy to be able to attack with Dragon Headbutt, but scared of the potential of an unfair stamp.
It's the right thing to do, especially when you've banked a Dracloak into that hand. For next turn, you give yourself the Iono plus a few draws from Recon Directive to possibly find your one-off copy of Dragapult and a handful of other cards as well. Alberto able to Jacq straight away and grab a couple of his own Dracloak, so he can already be confident that he's having a better start than in that game number 1. Let's get to work. There's already an attachment banked in the hand as well for this turn.
And another Dracloak, so there's all 3 going to be online this time.
Wow. Recon Directive number 2 coming in.
It looked like you didn't even look at those cards there, so quick.
Dracloak number 3 then. This is, again, from the ideal turn 1 into the ideal turn 2, 3 Dracloak online. Energy scattered around the board now as well with the attachment, you would imagine.
You wonder if it's going to go down onto that Monkey Dory and worry about that, but no damage currently in play, so you probably do want to prioritise getting those Dracloaks energized up. So we'll see where these attachments go. There is each of the types of energy in the deck, the Psychic Defier and the Luminous Energy, all in that hand. So which one Alberto chooses here based off of the prize cards? There's a Fire and a Luminous prize based off the Psychic in play. These are the small margins that these top players are able to find which energy is the correct one to attach.
And if we're trying to spread our threats, just having 2 identical Dracloak on the bench seems like a good policy. Let's continue that Itchy Pollen lock, deny Yoa from a few of those additional cards. Because he only has 1 Dragapult EX in his entire deck. If he's going to launch any attack, ooh, interesting, the Genesect. Ace Nullifier, he used it so well in that first game. Does seem like a good Pokemon to put onto your bench here. Let's see another Recon Directive first.
And if you're worried about the unfair stamp post-knockout, if you can get the Ace Nullifier on board, that would allow you to take a knockout and feel a bit more comfortable with it, especially with that Dragapult. The singular copy of Dragapult in the deck going into the hand and allowing him to evolve at this stage. Can put the Genesect down.
There's EXP share available as well, Mike, but we're going to Iono it away.
Interesting.
Looking for potentially other tools, perhaps. Always an indication that we may still not attack until we can find it with a gusting effect or something along those lines.
I'm surprised the EXP share didn't go down onto the bench Dracloak, as you
or
are...
the Genesect. Both good options.
Yeah, and there we go, going to be a retreat into the Budu.
We just wanted to find our Dragapult while we could. And go into Budu. Oftentimes it's so vital that Dragapult picks where its initial knockouts come from. You see the fire energy re-established onto the Dragapult EX. Action back over to Alberto now, though. Will he be the one to initiate the aggression? He has multiple Dracloak powered up. He has a lot of dig through the deck to try and find a Dragapult. Can he combine it with any gust? Well, Jacq will kick things off.
Yeah, you really need to be using that boss's orders as part of that first knockout. So you don't really swinging into the Budu with the 200 damage of Phantom Dive. You really want that one to be on the bench, taking some of those sprinkled damage counters instead.
Yeah, the first hit into your opponent's Dragapult EX can be critical, even taking out Dracloak, as we've seen both players attempt to do throughout this game number 1. And we will now see a flurry of Recon Directive. Alberto will see 6 cards and pick 3 of them. He's got to work towards that boss's orders. That has to be one of the final pieces for him.
Actually getting that unfair stamp back as well. That's the Genesect going to the bottom there.
Even finding Luminous for your Monkey Dory this turn is fine.
Sure is
Cape. A card that you can find later with Arven at any point, but it is coming into the hand now.
Yeah, one of the unique selling points of Alberto's list is that Luxurious Cape not found in Yoa's.
True.
Wonder if it would be a part of this strategy here. And there's that Luminous Energy, 4 copies in Alberto deck, really trying to maximise the opportunity to set up that Monkey Dory. A Dragapult going down, but it won't be attacking this turn. And I think we're going to see another Itchy Pollen from Alberto.
I like the choice a lot to evolve, even though it feels unintuitive to lose a Recon Directive, because these evolutions are hard to find under Itchy Pollen lock. It means that if Yoa is just going to use an Iono, you just have to find an energy in boss's orders to start launching those Phantom Dives.
And if you're worried about swinging into that Budu with your Phantom Dive, another way around it, not just boss's orders, would be to knock out that Budu with your Monkey Dory's ability. As you can see, that 2 damage prepped now on the active Budu. So Yoa looking to try and find either a big attack this turn, using that Dragapult to start the big powerful turn, or whether they're going to be using another Itchy Pollen.
He's found the boss's orders from his Recon Directives. He can get aggressive if he would like. Yes, we're going to be the first one Phantom diving into a Dragapult. In comes our Dragapult EX. Out comes Budu. We go from 10 damage up to 200, and also 60 to the bench Dracloak. That means that even with Monkey Dory, that Dracloak still would be KO'd, forcing Alberto to evolve out of these abilities, so he has less draw power at the very least.
If last game is anything to go by, the first attack of Dragapult decided the end victory. Yoa was the first to attack last time, attacking first again here. Alberto now will have to find an energy, but will be able to return an attack himself. Does have the Monkey Dory in line, which was a key factor for Yoa last time. So a few different factors in this game could change the course of whichever player shoots forward into the lead.
Alberto with a library of cards right now. Finally has access to items as well, don't forget, so he can do all sorts at this stage. Boss's orders coming into his own thinking as well. Neither player having taken a prize. But Luxurious Cape, once again, it was crucial in his top 4 match. Once again, protecting his energy, protecting his Dracloak. Thinking about the Arven use here.
and could take out both of those Dragapults using the boss, but instead might look to do it from the active, might not even look to take a knockout at the stage, as that can open up things like unfair stamp, the counter catcher, and all these great mechanics that Dragapult has built into it. And that's when neither player is wanting to go ahead and take that first prize card, because it favours the opponent, unlocks a bunch of cards in their deck.
It's a real cat and mouse, but Alberto is mostly up on attachments here. Does he have access to that fire energy? Yeah, he has a Luminous in his hand, so no problems there. Staying up on these attachments is so vital, because it means that Yoa can't weave in his own Monkey Dory easily at all. And it means you can just be in so much control. Adrenaline Brain here, removing 3 off Alberto's Dracloak, throwing it over to Yoa's Monkey Dory, a vital card in a couple of our Stage 2 archetypes. Dragapult and Gardevoir both utilise it.
Will a knockout be taken here? Alberto will do 200 damage to the active Dragapult. It looks like he's not going to try and take a knockout. It looks like he targeted the other Dracloak. He wants to try and keep it alive.
Yeah, he's not going to take a knockout here. Just sits onto the other Dracloak. Alberto is halting a big turn for the future, whilst not allowing Yoa to use his A-Spec or use Pheasantipity yet to have any means of a comeback.
And taking out the Dracloak would take away draw, but the Pheasantipity, the unfair stamps, the counter catchers are way more scary once you go into those knockouts. As we see lots of damage on board now on both sides, and it's going to be a huge turn at some point in the near future. Both players trying to navigate into that big swing turn that not only takes the knockouts you need to start winning the game, but also dismantling the board so it's harder to return any kind of damage.
And crucially, the 2-prize Dragapult EX means Yoa can't simply evolve his way out of this mess. We're going to see a Jacques, and there's no real targets for him. Oh, it's devastating. 2 of his 3 Dragapult EX in the prize cards means Alberto's use of damage counter placement is incredible right now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's clocked that they're both prized. Definitely will be now, as the Jacques is got 0 targets in the deck.
Wow, this is so rough for Yoa. Alberto made this decision simply to force him to evolve, but he can't. It's 2 in the prizes. You just have to take a sad Dracloak from this Jacques supporter. Not where you want to be. Alberto must be smiling now.
I mean, surely Alberto's worked out just from that alone that they must be prized. Prize cards making it a hard chore for Alberto to really go ahead and stay ahead. On this occasion, it's hard for Yoa to stay in a safe position.
Look at this.
Going to be going into that itchy pollen, the Budu coming forward, forcing Alberto to gust around it. No items available.
No items. You're trying your best to not be completely wiped off this board. Alberto now. Can you find another means of dust? We have some recon directives to help us.
I think there might be a boss's orders in hand.
Oh my goodness. Alberto, please. You're able to set up the other Dracloak, take them both out in the same turn. 3 dragons being knocked out at one foul swoop.
It's not far off. I think there's the boss's orders there. This is going to be possible.
It's going to be 4 prize cards, leaving Yoa with a Budu and a Genesect only. This is devastating. And it's an immediate concession. We're going to game 3.
Alberto, the king of the dragons, slays all 3. And on that occasion, we're going to be going into our final game of the final. This is the reason he's a top player, a top contender. And it's because he sees those visions. He sees the board as it was there and dismantles it all in one attack. As both these players struggling with their prize cards. First game it was Alberto, this time Yoa unable to find his Dragapult EX, but it was that early setup favouring Alberto.
Yoa was the first one to work towards a Dragapult EX, but didn't want to launch attacks with it, knowing that the unfair stamp was too scary. Alberto, with more recon directive on the board, was able to be the first one getting in that mix and making sure that he was targeting down his opponent. And let's be fair, Yoa's prize cards did not help him out too much. When Alberto made this choice to target multiple Dracloak, it meant that he was a boss's orders away from completely wiping the board state.
Well, there you go. Game 3 it is. The 2 decks functioning very similarly in both games. It was the deck that had more Dracloaks on board. That's the biggest indicator. And the Monkey Dory as well.
True.
So it seems like it's all about the monkey business.
Always has been.
The draw support of the recons.
Yeah, those attachments are so vital. And actually, I think Alberto plays 8 energy rather than the standard 7. And those fine margins, you know, don't underestimate the power of an extra energy in your deck because they're so vital. Oftentimes we're saying we're reconning looking for these attachments. And when you play an extra copy, that's always going to help out.
Yeah, interesting how the deck with less Dragapult EX had an easier time finding the Dragapult EX. It was those 2 prizes for Yoa, made it quite tough. But a lot of similarities. I mean, it's about 55 cards the same, I think, with these 2 decks. But those 5 that are different are significant. As you mentioned, 1 energy more. There's different tools. We've got different Pokemon on the side of Yoa able to utilise in the matchup. We've seen a lot of them being used so far, and I would love to see both players really set up strong here from the beginning.
Luminous for Alberto and a fire, you're right. That's not the best as we see the first one. We're going into game number 3 in our Masters final here at the Utrecht Special Championships. Who's going to come out on top? Dragapult wears the crown, but which player will it be?
Alberto going first this time, and does have that early buddy poppin, so key when you're forced to go into that game with a lack of supporters, many of which great to find that early setup. Rock Scouting, I know Arvin, very good at helping you set up. But if you go first and find that buddy poppin, it can often be beneficial in the matchup and make you in a stronger position, as Alberto is just working out the prize cards. You see him pushing some of those cards to the top. Many different strategies of our players here to find out those 6 cards. I think this way really highlighting the skill of these top players, finding out every little detail they need to win the game.
We've just seen prize cards helped lead Alberto to a victory because Yoa had some awkward ones. And in game 1, Alberto wasn't helped by his prize cards, having no access to his own Monkey Dory or Genesect. That didn't really help out too much in game number 1. So identifying those cards that aren't available and then constructing strategy around what you do have is so crucial. That's why you see our top players always go through these motions with that first deck search, figure out what you do and don't have access to.
And we said about the 3 energy for Alberto being a key prize card check, but actually on the other side there is a key card I'm just looking at here, Bravery Charm, can make a massive difference in the matchup.
We've seen how it can help you continue with your Budu for longer, but also sometimes even protecting some of your other vulnerable basics. The way these damage counters can be played out, the Bravery Charm can undo some of the cute math your opponent's trying to initiate. As we once again see Alberto do a preemptive Ultra Ball for the future turn, it's always a great thing to think a turn ahead. He's already expecting Yoa to come at him with an itchy pollen, so he's already prepping a Dracloak to the hand.
And these 2 players have earned their right to be in the final of this special championship here in Utrecht. many players rising to the top with Dragapult, but these two, the best pilots of Dragapult EX. And we see that Ultra Ball coming down. Yoa, with a bit of a spring in his step, looking to really flash through that deck and go as fast as possible. Really wants to get into a position, feel that confidence he felt in game 1.
We're already seeing 2 Dragapult EX in his hand. Can be confident at least he has his main attacker going into this game number 3. Also going to take a look diligently at those prize cards. As we said, at the top level of competitive play, this is something you have to get along and do. You simply have to know what you have access to and what you don't. Yoa, again, is doing so in this instance, also eyeing up the potential Latias EX as his first search from this Ultra Ball. So he can once again protect the energy. We've said it a couple times, Mike, but in order to stay on top of these attachments working your Monkey Dory, it's because you need to have had energy scattered throughout the entire game.
Yeah, so just checking through those trainer cards, it seems we'll recognise that Bravery Charm is missing, as well as a Counter Catcher, an Ino and an Arven. Nothing too crazy, but that charm could come in the future. Both of them will have access to that unfair stamp. Can turn it off through the Genesect. There's a lot of cat and mouse here, trying to work out what you put in play to deny your opponent the ability to attack.
The bench management is so delicate for both players. Like you said, the positioning of these Pokemon, when you can weave in the lower hit point stuff, whether they're vulnerable to the combination of Phantom Dive plus Monkey Dory, even if that's not even showing on the board, being on top of those things, expecting and anticipating the worst from your opponent throughout, is how you can play the safest with this archetype, and also how you can negate some of those key threats with some of these tech cards.
And this is a key difference between the two lists. Latias EX with that Skyliner ability, allowing all of your basic Pokemon to have free retreat. It is a 2-prize Pokemon though, with 210 HP, so has got a bit of vulnerability when it comes to the matchup. But on this occasion, Yoa valuing the energy on board over having that vulnerability in play. I doubt Alberto was expecting to see that Latias come out of the Ultra Ball.
And beyond this search, I think we're just going to be using Ino for a fresh 6 cards here, which means we need a lot. We need to start working towards Buddy Poffin if we're going to launch our own Itchy Pollen, and we need more access to Budgie. Big 6 cards for both players. Alberto is having one of his Drakloak shuffled to the bottom as well, don't forget. There is Buddy Poffin and a couple Drakloak. That's a fantastic 6 cards for Yoa. He is straight back into this game.
I know, the key supporter in so many decks right now. Late game disruption, but early game consistency, and exactly that has been seen right here. A Dreepy and a Budu go straight down onto that bench, and that Budu will be able to come up whilst conserving the energy thanks to that Skyliner ability. 2 Dreepy, a Budu, and even more in that hand for future turns. So a great situation for Yoa, despite such a rough starting hand.
Looks like both players are going to have a good opener here because there's the Jacques coming out immediately for Alberto, which means we're going to have a really interesting slog in our game number 3 here. Still half an hour remains on the clock. Plenty of time to see the fireworks.
After game 1 being heavily in favour of Yoa and game 2 heavily in favour of Alberto, we were hoping to see this, a matchup between these two decks where both are in control, and it looks like we'll be seeing that more Drakloak on board, energy in play, Budu in the active, and it is looking to be the dream start for both of our players who've made it so far through this tournament. They must be feeling exhausted at this stage. 12 rounds of Swiss with a top 8, no asymmetrical top cut here in Utrecht, and they both made their way past the rest of the competition to see who will be the Utrecht champion.
More energy coming into the hand for Alberto. You have to imagine he's going to retreat Drakloak into his own Itchy Pollen Budgie this turn, but can at least re-establish energy here. Finds another Dreepy, and as expected, the Psychic Energy will be sacrificed. And you can also bench this additional Pokemon before launching your own Itchy Pollen straight back to your opponent.
It's very easy for us to look at the surface level of what's going on here, but all these tiny decisions both players are making, something as simple as that Psychic Energy being the choice for Alberto there, knowing there's a Fire Energy prize, not wanting to take all of your energy out of your hand and deck. These kinds of tiny decisions go unnoticed by so many players throughout the tournament, but it may be those small percentages that's taken these players to the final.
Yoa immediately uses his supporter of Brock Scouting to grab a Monkey Dory and Dreepy. Does that indicate we have access to Luminous Energy? Well, not yet, but with some Recon Directive, we're thinking creatively. Brock Scouting now for the following turn coming into the hand. Obviously, any energy attachments, no. Couple tool cards. Going to value the option of Defiance Band for now and simply Itchy Pollen back into Alberto. This is the cat and mouse that you sometimes see in this matchup. You're both working towards your energy attachments. You're both working towards Dragapult. You're often working towards boss's orders as well. Alberto with an opportunity to have a big turn. If he can find that combination, he can take out the only energy in play for Yoa.
Yoa having the best tournament of their career so far. Massively achieving the final, taking down the Seville champion in the semi-finals, looking to take down our Gdansk regional champion in Alberto. And Alberto looking so calm in this position as he's been there before. For Yoa, playing with speed, playing with purpose, really looking to try and take that win. You can feel the want there, you can feel the drive, looking to try and take this victory and go ahead. But Alberto just playing the game as expected, 3 Drakloak on board and trying to establish that stable board state.
I think the only thing stopping Yoa from being completely ruined was Itchy Pollen because of the combination of Fire Energy, Boss's Orders and Ultra Ball, but crucially that is locked out. So Alberto going to be committing both energy to Drakloak here. Again, it's that careful juggle. Well, it's a bit of an easier choice when there's an EXP share in the hand as well for your backup Drakloak. That's also a Monkey Dory coming onto his bench. And then we will Itchy Pollen one more time. Alberto unable to string together a 3-card combo. But now the pendulum swings over to Yoa. Can he find his Dragapult EX in addition to Boss's Orders as well? Brock Scouting tells us immediately, not quite. No, instead we're going to go for the Recon Directive first. That's a good deal. You find Boss's Orders and Drakloak. Now we're dreaming big.
Just recognising his own haste there and catching himself before he rushed into a decision. Going via that Drakloak might have opened up the ability to take a knockout here. Energy Force and Dragapult in hand. There is an opportunity here to take some big prize cards, looking to go safer, establish the board state, and this is the calm we like to see out of these players, acknowledging that sometimes the rush is not the key. And fair play to Yoa, it was almost the dream combo to take the big knockout.
You can still get one Recon Directive. I think Luminous Energy is still the best find here. Get your Monkey Dory into the mix, if you can. No, now we're going to have to split up our energy, I have to think. We have to put Psychic onto a different... Oh, wow, we're both committed here.
Oh, the same setup, though. The
EXP share once again.
Wow,
okay.
When you say it's a mirror match, it's also a mirror match in the way they're playing.
Look at the entire board state is identical, apart from a Latias EX.
And a Monkey Dory, too, but those spaces are still available for Alberto to put things down.
Alberto with priority.
It's that Monkey Dory actually on the bench there.
There is.
Just at the top. It's just literally the Latias EX there.
Luminous Energy picked up from Alberto. Can we find the Dragapult EX now? Recon Directive. We can finish off the Budgie easily if we use a Brain. That would force another Pokemon into the active for Yoa. That's a way you can take a 2-prize KO with your first Phantom Dive.
Given the symmetry of both their setups here, the first one to initiate a Dragapult attack will very much put themselves in the lead.
I don't think it's guaranteed.
No items.
No items. Well, Bravery Charm can come in clutch for the Budgie. You could attach a Luminous to your Monkey Dory and use an Ino if you wish. Both players have started to stack up larger hands. There is the Luminous energy. We're going to throw 2 damage onto Dracloak. We can Itchy Pollen for the first prize and still keep our bench just at Dracloak right now. No support being played from Alberto by the looks of things. No, we're just going to take the first KO here in our game number 3 from Alberto. That's continuing to keep that lock up. Yo, now, 3 recon directives. Boss's Orders already in the hand. Dragapult already in the hand.
There's that unfair stamp, can't play that though, still under item lock with that knockout, that Bravery Charm on the Budu. A strategy unavailable to Yoa in this game as the Bravery Charm is prized. The Dracloaks are drawing, needs to find a big knockout right now. Free retreat on that Monkey Dory thanks to the Latiasi X, but we'll be looking to try and Gus. Can't use Counter Catcher, must find that boss which we know was in hand.
Yeah. And I think the best target is actually Monkey Dory here. I'm so afraid of a Brain. It's such an insane ability.
What do you do with the damage after that, though? That's the question. This is why this mirror match can be such a tough one. Once you get to this stage of the game where you have pretty much identical setups, except for those 2 prize liabilities on Yoa's side, you really are starting to think, what will be that first attack?
Picked up from the Flip the Script. A big decision from Noah, either to dig deeper with Pheasant Dipsy or put down his Genesect with a tool. Boss's Orders coming in. I feel like you staying on top of it. Yeah, there we go. No, it's going to be the EXP Share Dracloak as the target.
Can actually take out both the Dracloaks with energy on. This could be a huge turn here for Yoa. All the energy will be removed from board. The knockout on the active, 6 to the bench Dracloak, and Alberto is left with no energy available.
Really, really clean play from Yoa here. Taking so much off the board all in one go, and now look at his bench as well. Has lots of draw power developed, has that safety net of the EXP share, and both players in that cat and mouse. It feels like Yoa has struck first, and it's been a devastating attack.
And it's not even like Alberto can quickly trade a blow back. No energy available, might even need to attack with the Monkey Dory, but even then you're leaving yourself without more energy on your Dragon types. This is going to be a tough situation for Alberto to come back from. The Budu has gone forward, you can item lock, but with the Skyliner in play, everything that could be a liability has free retreat. You just got those Dracloaks there.
And you're terrified of putting any amount of damage into play, because it allows the Brain to get more creative. It could once again be a moment for Alberto to attempt to use his luxurious cape on this Dracloak to protect it that little bit more. It's getting tough though. We know at least that the unfair stamp's available to him. We're going to see the Ultra Ball. Is it Pheasant Dipsy EX on his own side of the board now? Both these players have to think about not just this turn, but having some sort of engine. And when you've lost all the Dracloak, it feels like Pheasant Dipsy has to be the fallback.
And you wonder if that last turn, maybe moving the 10 damage off of the Dracloak rather than off of the Budu, would have been a stronger play.
I know. These are the margins, Mike. And even then, Yoa's decision between the Genesect and accepting an okay turn and the Pheasant Dipsy, digging that little bit deeper, completely changed the complexion of this game now.
You can see how much Alberto's having to think to try and work out the route back in. We've seen it on stream already. Alberto has shown exactly why he's a regional champion, able to come back from many a tough situation. And one card that can typically initiate that kind of a comeback is the unfair stamp, where both players shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 5 for the player that plays the card and 2 for the opponent, but only can you play it if one of your Pokemon was knocked out in the last turn.
2 cards, Mike. That's not many. That's one of the only defenses this deck has, and why it's so happy from playing from behind.
With 2 Dracloak on board, it's going to be 2 cards plus a top deck plus 4 in those recon directives. It's really going to be tough for Alberto in this situation. We'll just slam that unfair stamp down, and we'll be looking to try and claw this one back as the energy attachment to the Dracloak will need a second one next turn to even start attacking with the Dragapult. Yoa has earned himself a free turn, but with very few cards in his hand.
I feel like Alberto does need to find a counter catcher here as well. Has to bring up one of these Dracloak. I know it's only a single retreat, but you have to try and make it a little bit more difficult. Yoa has committed a lot of energy already to this board. There's one of the prize cards for him as well. There's no guarantee that even off a couple of recon directives, he can't find a way out.
We'll see if it comes into those 5 cards. Alberto does have the Pheasant Dipsy as well.
Yeah. There it is. Giving you that little ray of hope. Flip the script as well for 3 more cards. Can we Night Stretching back any Dreepy here? The problem with putting 70-point Pokemon down at the stage, if you use Itchy Pollen for 10, it can open up a Brain plus Phantom Dive if they are able to launch an attack. So Alberto has to decide, is it worth that risk?
Wow, and then you look at his hand, there's the Ultra Ball there. With items available, you can find a few different Pokemon that could be useful, but maybe even prepping for next turn, getting that Dragapult ready. And realistically, you can't come back in this game without surviving a turn. So really thinking optimistically, Alberto, he knows that it has to work here. It has to lock out Yoa from another turn of attacking. We will see Counter Catcher onto the Dracloak that already has a tool committed. There's not even the opportunity for Rescue Ball to be in out now. And it will be a 10 damage prod. If Yoa can find his way around this Budu, he will continue on a huge path of pressure. Not only to Boss's Orders as well. Night Stretcher not live in his hand. Is there a way to pivot a Dracloak? No, there is not. Wow. It's worked out for Alberto just about, clinging on here in this game number 3. As we said, 2 cards is not a lot. It really did look like that last turn from Yoa was going to seal the deal, but as is always the case with Dracloak, you can earn a turn back with combination pieces like Unfair Stamp and Itchy Pollen, and that Dracloak in the active has been locked up for 1 turn. But there's still a lot for Alberto to do. He has to develop this Dragapult, has to find a way to get another energy and start taking knockouts, and even then, a lot to do. Step 1, success for Alberto, but there's still so much more to do here. Your opponent with a superior board state, and making it tricky for you to even attempt to put any Dreepy down at this stage. No draw on board for Alberto. No. The only thing, the Pheasant Dipsy, but that requires a knockout in the previous turn, as that Dracloak was evolved into the Dragapult. Night Stretch coming into the hand now. Will Alberto try one more time to develop Dreepy? It's risky. It was risky last turn, it's risky now. You can only dodge for so long, but I'm certain one Dragapult EX will not be enough to carry through this game. You need to re-establish some of these Pokemon. Just going to be Fire Energy.
That's also powering up your Dragapult EX.
Well, you have those 210 HP Pokemon, the Latias and the Pheasant. They're in good range of the Blood Moon Ursaluna, which is a great finisher in both of these players' decks. And could be coming in clutch towards the end of this game. But Alberto going to be putting that Dragapult into the active. Will be looking to take a knockout on that Dracloak, but will be putting damage in play for the Monkey Dory. Where's it going to go? 200 to the active, 6 damage counters to spread.
I think all 6 onto Dracloak means even an Adrenabrain can't help out. But also, if you're worried about Adrenabrain, you just start sprinkling the 1s and put a 2 basically anywhere. So that the Monkey Dory is not fully live. It's going to be a 5 and 1 split, which does allow Yoa to have a full power Adrenabrain back. That has at least a couple of EX Pokemon.
Both players now, 4 prize cards remaining. Counter Catcher unavailable on both sides, but that unfair stamp for Yoa is a possibility here. The Pheasant a possibility, and 1 Dracloak to see a few more cards. Recon Directive, look at the top 2, 1 on the bottom, 1 in the hand. And it looks like a tough decision here for Yoa.
Can't quite catch. One of them's a Counter Catcher.
And a
see the other try to get Night Stretcher. Already has one in the hand, I believe. Sometimes even thinking about if I'm going to Ionia myself, what do I want to get closer to? There's Boss's Orders in Yoa's hand, now spying that as an option. Looking at the discard pile, there's no energy. That's one of the only hurdles here. You can freely retreat this Pheasant EX. And we can at least launch a Phantom Dive, but where's the damage counter best served?
If you knock out that Badu, which you could with a Monkey Dory, it doesn't really help you too much because you need 4 prize cards. You need to find a way to take a big knockout on a 2-prizer and either 2 smaller Pokemon or another 2-prizer itself. And it looks like the Boss's Orders on the Pheasant has that in mind. We want to take that knockout there, but maybe do it next turn. So much to think about in this stage. You can see how Alberto didn't develop any other liabilities, recognizing that the board was pretty secure and safe with that Badu with a Bravery Charm and 3 larger Pokemon.
3 counters going on to the Monkey Dory now from Yoa, and 200 to the active. Could load up even more damage across this board. Essentially, Yoa saying, this heal from Alberto's Monkey Dory is great in so many positions now. Making it a tough one for him to decide what's better.
Now you look at the taking 2 big 2-prize knockouts for Alberto. Knock out the Latias, knock out the Pheasant would be a possibility. Is there the Gust there available? Do you have the boss? You don't have the draw, but you do have a boss in hand, so there is the possibility now to take a knockout on either of those 2-prize Pokemon, or you could try and take out the Monkey Dory and the Dracloak.
Coming to the climax of this Game 3, 12 minutes remain in our Masters final here in Utrecht. One of these players will be walking home a special champion. Alberto already a regional champion. Yoa already taking down a special champion on his way to this final. Alberto closing in with the Blood Moon Ursaluna and the energy attachment before using an Iono here. Both players going to get a random 4-card hand to play with.
Oh, really interesting. Actually going to be attacking into this Dragapult EX in the active spot. And that Blood Moon Ursaluna ready to attack in the future. The Pheasant now with just 10 HP remaining is going to be sitting there as a little bit of a liability on Alberto's side of the board. But still, there's still going to have to be 2 turns from both players to secure this victory. It's a little bit of a navigation through these final turns. Alberto looking to attack into the Dragapult. Where's the Monkey Dory damage going to go?
First of all, where do we take it off? Pheasant EX. Be in range for Holucha if you don't heal it up. Monkey Dory still able to be KO'd with a Phantom Dive, even if you heal it. But at least it's only a single prizer. Yeah, Alberto has to take a moment here because this is critical.
This could decide the Utrecht Special Championship. Will Alberto make it 2 for the season, or will Yoa have an incredible performance? A young player here in Utrecht looking to try and make their first championship victory.
And a direct invite, don't forget, Mike. It's to the World Championships. Mean anything to Yoa.
So Alberto Phantom Dive into the Dragapult. Nothing too crazy going to be happening this turn. Just going to be spreading some of that damage out. And with the Monkey Dory, this gets really complicated for these players to navigate. We're spreading it out, and I'm so confused as to why the decisions are being made. But these guys have got a plan.
They'll tell us.
They'll tell us after. If they come through and these decisions are correct and they win, we'll be shown exactly why. As Latias and Pheasant accumulating damage on the bench there. No knockout from Alberto in that turn.
Yeah, we should have an easy means of finishing off Pheasant just with bench damage alone. Energy Surge coming into the mix now. That was one of the crucial pieces he's lacked for a few turns. Energy can be found. Can we evolve up in some of these vulnerable single prizes at this stage? Feels like Alberto's trying to set up multiple of the basic EXs. Actually going to swap out for a Psychic Energy now.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
No, not too sure. It's going to be far in the end.
You really see Alberto's leaning into those 2-prize Pokemon. Yoa has put 2 EXs on the board outside of that Dragapult EX, typically something you try and avoid. They've been so key to the success of this game, and it's whether Alberto can punish that scenario and utilize in this situation. That unfair stamp in Yoa's hand has not been active for a few turns now, as both players are avoiding taking big knockouts, as we see 4 EX Pokemon now on the side of Yoa, and just that Monkey Dory as the only single prizer. Alberto will have to take 2 massive knockouts in this next turn, but for now Yoa is looking to try and move some damage across and put himself in the best position to win the whole event.
Adrenabrain coming in. The healing, more importantly, where you want to place these counters. Do you want to deny Alberto his own use of Monkey Dory? You want to set up the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Yeah, so this allows you to finish off Pheasant EX with the Phantom Dive, and even put a huge chunk into this Blood Moon Ursaluna, so that even with Monkey Dory, Yoa can still finish it off, essentially making it a useless attacker.
Going to be taking out the knockout here on the Pheasant.
Yeah,
opens up
one damage. Yeah.
There's not really anything Alberto can do to take 4 prize cards next turn, so Yoa trying to set up for win next turn.
It feels like he's in the best position. I do still like taking out Monkey Dory, but when you've evolved up so many of your Pokemon, you have so many hit points on your remaining Pokemon, you may feel content that you're not afraid of Adrenabrain. It's going to do up to 5 damage on the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and the remaining damage goes on to Monkey Dory. So 1 on Pheasant 2 on Blood Moon Ursaluna, I think, and then 3 on the Monkey Dory. Yoa goes down 2 prize cards, putting himself essentially 1 attack away from closing our final out here.
What can you do this turn, Alberto, to put yourself closer? We mentioned how important that first attack from Yoa was, the Phantom Dive to initiate the damage, and you can just see how much more damage he's been able to get on the board, as Alberto needs 4 prize cards to win the game.
He has no draw power, Mike. Pheasant taken off the board. It's just down to those few cards in his hand. Arven's there. Can we construct some sort of counter-catcher play now?
What can you do here? If you bring up the Dragapult on the bench, then that can always just retreat into the other Dragapult, maybe even having to use a mind bend here. Is there energy available? This is really tough now. Alberto having to find the solution that does not seem possible.
Alberto has to take a moment. He's found his way out of so many awkward spots throughout the weekend, but is this one a step too far? 200 damage on the active. 4 on Pheasant TX on the bench. How can he get creative with his Monkey Dory at this stage? Tries to heal up his Dragapult TX. Now only 170 damage remains on it.
I don't know if this damage even matters, just has to take a knockout on that Dragapult and hope.
Are we just trying to dodge energy? Take out the active Dragapult TX and try and dodge a fire or luminous energy attachment. Alberto shrugs, launches the Phantom Dive, sets up the Monkey Dory on the bench, goes down to 2 prize cards himself. Yoa, can you close out this game? Luminous energy allows the Dragapult TX to come back into the active position and finish off a huge knockout. Yoa overcoming 2 champions to become one himself.
Our Utrecht Special Championship has been concluded, and it's Yoa, an amazing performance. A tough journey by multiple champions, the semi-final with that Maractus taking down the Seville champion, and in the final, the final odd to give